Hello friends and welcome to another video on Tutorialspoint with me Richa. Today under the retail segment we will talk about modern retail operations. Let us see what is there for us on the agenda today. Well, we will talk about defining the departments and functions inside a retail store, structure of a front-end store operation, the roles and responsibility of the front-end staff in detail, and as well as what are certain challenges faced by the front-end staff. Let's get started quickly. Let's understand HRM in retail. Now, HRM is human resource management, and for the purpose of running a store efficiently, the HRM needs to be in place. So in today's era, it is difficult to gain an edge through unique product offerings since today's customers has easy access to a wide selection of goods. Friends, today's customers have so much of variety in the market, and they also can search for anything online and also order things online. So what really puts one retail system in apart from another is the way you handle your operations. Retailers are striving to create a superior store experience for the customers in order to increase the customer sales as well as get loyal customers. The two major retail variable assets are one, the inventory of all the products and categories, and the second most important one is labor. Let's look at each of them in detail now. Well, labor is something that is a huge cost for any retail organization today. The kind of labor that you need in terms of front-end staff, salaries, cost, operation cost is really turning huge. So let's look at labor in terms of retail. Single most largest controllable expense is the labor. Workforce is retailer's face of the customer, but you cannot do anything about it because you need people to face a customer. If a customer didn't need staff, they would just order online for their particular needs and requirements. Through employees' brands, you deliver customer service and customer experience. You also deliver the revenue as well as the brand differentiation. What really makes one brand different from the other is something which is a challenge for a retailer. Now let's look at the organization structure in retail. You have hierarchy levels. Now different hierarchies are there in the store, for senior management, junior management, as well as really junior management. The reporting relationship, who reports into whom. So a sales staff will report into their team leader, the team leader reports into a store assistant store manager, and then he reports into a manager. So basically we are talking about who reports into whom, so the relationship between them. The decision makers, who are the stakeholders in retail, if it's going to be the retailer, the person who owns the retail store, etc. So who is the stakeholder or decision maker, and the different roles played by different people. So that is what the organization structure looks at in a retail outlet. Talking about the process of the organizing a retail brand. Now anybody who wants to take a look at what goes into making a retail firm or a brand, let's take a look at that. Outlining the specific task to be performed in a retail distribution channel, you need to understand that very essentially. Also then dividing the task among the channel members as well as the customers. You have to understand who will do what particular task and dividing roles and responsibilities accordingly. You also have to then grouping the retailer's task into jobs. So there has to be a JD for a particular role. So what exactly is going to be your role and responsibility or your job description? Classifying the jobs according to the requirement and the need. Integrate the positions through an organization chart. So everyone who works in a retail organization or a retail outlet, the labor, that is the staff member, needs to know what is their role and responsibility, and that has to be very clear cut. Let's now look at what is the identification of a task in a retail organization. So a management, which is the head of a retail store, a store manager for example, has different functions to look at. That is the store operation. He has to understand that the store is running efficiently and productively without any hassles or obstacles. Buying and merchandising products in terms of the merchandiser who looks into this buying and merchandising. Finance and accounts, you need to have a set number of people who look into the accounts and finance of that particular retail. Legal and administration, you also need somebody who is going to take in charge of the compliances and the laws, taxation, etc. So the legal and admin team needs to be in place. You also need the HRM, which is the human resource manager. You need to have an HR manager or an HR executive. And you need to have somebody for marketing, promotions, advertising and PR for that particular retail. So well friends, as you understand, it's not easy to take care of all of this. You need to hire labor or staff members to look into each and every of this task that is there on the board today. Looking at another aspect, which is planning a retail organization. So you need to consider certain factors if you are planning to start a retail. You need to understand who is the target market and what is the need of the target market. If you do not, or probably if you have not identified it yet, it is time to do so. So you need to understand, are there sufficient personnel to provide appropriate customer service? If you have a lot of products but nobody to sell those products, you are incurring losses for your store. So having sufficient staff members. Are the personnel that you have hired knowledgeable and courteous? Because you cannot have somebody speak rudely or impolitely to a customer. The customer will run off and never ever come back to your store, also giving bad publicity to your particular store. Are the store facilities well maintained in terms of the AC, the lighting, power supply? Everything needs to be well maintained if you want to run a retail store. Are the specific needs of a branch store customers met? Are changing needs promptly addressed? So if there are changes, are they addressed in a prompt manner so that everybody benefits out of it? Well, now looking at the management need. In a retail organization, you have different set of people who come under the management. Now they have certain needs and regulations. Let's look at that. The management needs are, is it relatively easy to obtain and retain competent personnel? You need to constantly harp upon or train them, the right kind of people. Are personnel procedures clearly defined? Does each worker report only to one supervisor? Because there can be one person who is reporting into 2 or 3 different people. Now, it can get very challenging for that one poor staff member who has 3 reporting authorities. So you need to ensure that each member reports into only one supervisor. Can each manager properly supervise all the workers who is reporting under him or her? Do the operating departments have adequate staff support? Example, marketing, research, analytical, merchandiser. So you need to ensure that everyone has the required set of staff members. Are the level of organizations properly developed? Are the organization's plan well integrated? Are employees motivated? Because ultimately your staff needs to be motivated and engaged to sell the products and services to the customers. Is absenteeism low? If a lot of people are getting absent a lot of times, it is not good for your retail organization. Is there a system to replace personnel in an orderly manner? And that is something you need to keep in mind. Is there enough flexibility to adapt to changes in customers or the environment? Any retail outlet which needs to do a lot of profit and do well for itself needs to be very, very adaptable and flexible to different changing needs of the customers as well as the environment. Now friends, let's look at certain employee needs. Now these are needs which an employee has and a manager, or rather the retail decision owner, has to keep this in mind. Are the positions challenging and satisfying enough? So everybody questions their, the employees question themselves on this. Is there an orderly promotion program in writing? Everybody looks for promotions if they have worked very hard in an organization. So is the promotion program in place? Is the employee able to participate in decision making, major decision making things which happen in an organization? Are the channels of communication clear and open? Is the authority responsibility relationship clear? Because there needs to be transparency for good trust and rapport to happen between the employees. Is each employee treated in a fair manner, and is good performance rewarded? Well, everyone loves to get rewarded and appreciated for the hard work that they have put into the company. So as an employee, these are the questions which every employee working in a retail has in his or her mind. Well friends, that brings us to the end of this particular module under retail, wherein we spoke about modern retail operations. We spoke about so many things under this particular module. I do hope it has value added to you, and I'm sure you have enjoyed listening to this. Thank you for watching us.